If you're a Phillies fan, check out my Phillies channel. I'd really appreciate it. Link pinned in the comments section below. But now it's time to ask, what do you expect from the Sixers next season? Let me know your thoughts below. Quite honestly, I feel like nobody really knows. It's very unpredictable. Therefore, mine aren't really high expectations. But I do expect them to be better than last season. They should easily win more than 24 games. I don't care if Embiid and Paul George don't play at all. Not surpassing the win total from last season would be embarrassing. I think a totally fair expectation is they make the play-in tournament. The last spot in both the Eastern and Western Conference last season had 39 wins. It's just hard to believe in them being well above 500 because there is so much that would have to go their way. For instance, Jared McCain, coming off an injury, will need to be a consistent high-level player. He can't really afford a sophomore slump. Trendon Watford has to hit in a big way. He needs to be giving them starting level production. Jabari Walker most likely has to hit as well because that power forward position is very thin. VJ has to be productive and useful as a rookie from day one. On top of all that, they need to be blessed with health from Embiid and Paul George. They pretty much need all of that to happen. It just seems like there is not a lot of room for error in terms of them exceeding expectations. I will say there is one player who can help them surpass expectations, aka Tyrese Maxey. I need him getting back to all-star form. If he's healthy and not an all-star, I would be extremely disappointed. So he had a month stretch from January 1st to February 9th. 20 total games where he averaged 30.8 points, 7.2 assists per game, while shooting 48% from the field and 36% from three. During that time, the Sixers were playing competitive games. They lost by 6 to the Knicks, lost by 3 to Cleveland, destroyed the Lakers, lost by 3 to Denver, and lost by 8 to Boston. Listen to the most played lineup over that stretch of games: Maxey, Justin Edwards, Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre, and Gershon. On a good team, those are most likely 4 bench players, and then Tyrese Maxey. But his play was elevating the Sixers and actually keeping them in games. At the end of the day, they just didn't have the firepower to really get it done in the end. Per PivotFade.com, Maxey played 779 minutes over that period. The Sixers had just a negative 2.8 net rating with him on the floor. Meanwhile, in the 234 minutes without him, the Sixers had a negative 14.7 net rating. My point is, Maxey was playing in a way where if you just add a McCain or a more consistent Paul George to the mix more consistently during that time, the Sixers probably go 11-9 over that stretch instead of 7-13. The next step for Tyrese Maxey is just maintaining that offensive consistency and efficiency no matter who is on the floor with him. What worked well during that stretch for him was, number one, the mid-range was falling. For the entire season, he attempted 1.8 mid-range jumpers per game, 43.8%, which is good for 64th percentile. During that 20-game stretch, he upped his volume to 2.3, but at the same time was hitting it more often, 52.2%. I think a fair goal for next season would be 46 to 48% in the mid-range while raising the volume. It's fair to mention he made drastic improvement in this region compared to the 2023-24 season. 2.1 per game, but 35% in the mid-range in 2024. Number two, speaking of that 23-24 season, I think he should get back to the volume of floaters he was shooting. 3.2 per game to be exact, and then this season it dropped down to 2.6, but during that 20-game stretch, he was shooting 50% on them while upping the volume a tad to 2.9 per game. He's been struggling finishing at the rim the past 2 seasons. At times, I think relying on that floater, getting a more consistent mid-range jumper as well, will allow him to even out in that category. I remember there was a stretch, and I think it was in the beginning of last season, where everyone was like, why does Maxey not take floaters anymore? With his size and speed, I feel like that shot, when he has it, it's unguardable. He needs to continue to look for it and trust it more often, rather than just challenging rim protectors 24/7. Number 3 just involves getting his 3-point jumper back. His finger injury most likely affected this part of his game. He shot just 35% on catch and shoot threes last season. The year before that, he shot 42% on catch and shoot threes, and the volume was the same. It was his worst shooting season from 3 since his rookie year, 33% from deep, and he shot 30% as a rookie. If he stays healthy, I assume he's going to be back to being one of the best catch and shoot players in the league. I also think a part of his drop off in this category is just relying too much on Maxey on the ball. I think Nick Nurse can do a better job of getting him off the ball, just getting him a breather, but at the same time, drawing up actions where he's running off screens and things of that nature. I think one of the reasons his efficiency dropped down is just being relied on way too much and not having the craziest supporting cast. And then number 4, learn how to foul bait. As we know, he has one of the worst whistles in the league. The past 2 seasons, he's at a stalemate, 5.4 and 5.6 free throws per game. It turns out when he gets 6 or more free throws last season, he was averaging 29.1 points per game. It happened 25 times, and a lot of those games, he had more than 6, some even in the double digits. And guess what? During that 20-game stretch where he was averaging 30 points per game, he was averaging 6.1 free throws per game. So it seems like he's capable of increasing that number a bit, and I think that will do wonders for him. Also, the icing on the cake would be him facilitating like he was during that 20-game stretch. On top of scoring, he's creating 18.1 points per game for his teammates. And honestly, it probably should have been more if the team was more talented. To put that in perspective, James Harden last season averaged 19.1 points created per game. The reason I bring up James Harden is because ever since he's been gone, everyone's been like, we need a passing point guard. But if Maxey can find a way to bring that out of his game more often for longer stretches, he will reach another level, and the not point guard narrative will be forgotten. The reason the majority of this video is about Tyrese Maxey is as of now, he's really the only player with harsh expectations, mainly because I know he's probably going to be there most of the time. Paul George would be the same, but at this point in his career with his age and the past season, I don't even expect him to be on the court consistently. And of course, unfortunately, the same goes for Joel Embiid. Maxey's in his prime, and now he's had 2 seasons being the primary handler. If he's capable, another jump is coming from him, in my opinion. Then, of course, you got young guys such as Jared McCain coming off an injury, being only 21 years old. I think it's a little unfair to expect him to be an all-star level game changer already. I wouldn't be shocked if he went through some sophomore struggles. And if that does happen, I'm not going to be sounding the alarms. I'm not going to be mad at him. I will say, one of the main goals for the Sixers from Nick Nurse, the coaching staff, and Morey, this is an expectation, is to see what they have in Maxey and McCain as a duo. So last season they played 248 minutes together, not a large sample size, and as a duo, their lineups had a negative 1.1 net rating. They actually won their minutes by 7 points. In the plus-minus category, pretty solid considering how bad the Sixers were last season. We need to see a larger sample size to know if they truly can be the future. The funny thing is they had a 112.1 defensive rating. Meanwhile, they had a 111 offensive rating. So their defense was better with Maxey and McCain on the court. In Sixers land, you see a lot of people predicting the future that they have to trade one of them moving forward eventually. And that opinion, I'm not saying it's wrong. It may end up being right. But saying that right now doesn't really make sense to me. It's like, okay, you're just saying that because they're both small guards and struggle at defense. Good job. You're so smart. Personally, I'm not rushing into that because I like watching them play and they're both fun young guards with great mindsets. And considering the most played lineup with them last season included KJ Martin, Oubre, and Gershon, and still that was actually a productive lineup for them. But let's be real, that's not a lot of talent around them. That's not a lineup filled with players that are going to help their defensive deficiencies. The sample is just too low to have any conclusions right now, in my opinion, and the Sixers need to work toward finding that conclusion in this upcoming season. That is my expectation. I expect Quentin Grimes just to do the exact same as last season. Hopefully have a career year because he's going to get the most minutes of his career if he's able to stay healthy. He's guaranteed a high spot in the rotation right away. He's been battling for that his whole entire career. So hopefully he takes advantage. Just give me elite two-way play and change your game based on what the team needs. If they just need you to spot up and play defense, do it. If they need more offensively, randomly, do it. I really expect him to be our Derek White. Now, obviously, this really depends on health, but if they're relatively healthy, I expect the Sixers to have a very good offense, at least in the top half of the league. I want them to improve in terms of assist percentage as well, because when everyone was healthy at times, they were one of the worst passing teams in the league. Now, defensively, I don't really know what to expect. I don't really believe they have the makings of being an elite defense, but hopefully they surprise us. But I really have no expectations on that end of the floor. And the same goes for rebounding. I also just expect this team to try much harder than last season. Just look like you give a shit more. That's all I got, though. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments section.